Hello everyone. I would like all of you to simply just write a hi in the comment section so that I know that all of you have joined in, and we can have a very constructive session over the next 50 to 60 minutes. So yeah, hello Abhigavi. Hello. I'm so glad that you were waiting for this masterclass. Aditi Darak. Hello. Hi. So nice to see you here as well. So if you could drop a quick hi on the chat box, it'll help me know that all of you are here, and we can make this session a little bit more interactive as well. Hi Preeti, hello Anita, hi Shivani. So very glad that all of you could join in today. So today, as we had promised, in the messages that you must have received, we are going to conduct a masterclass on the topic of impromptu speaking. A session in which you will learn how to think on your feet and have a constructive conversation with anyone under any situation about whatever topic under the sun that you would like to speak about. So this session is going to be applicable for anyone and everyone across age group who would like to learn exactly how you would like to improve your communication capabilities. So we'll dive into exactly what we're going to intend to do in this entire session. So here is what we're going to cover today, which is the art of impromptu speaking. We're going to think on our feet, and we're going to say things that matter every time we speak. So in this topic, what we are going to be doing is that we're going to be covering primarily 5 modules, 5 topics. We're going to speak about why exactly does learning impromptu speaking even matter. Then we're going to move on and talk about what are the common mistakes that people actually commit when they try impromptu speaking for the first time. Then we're going to speak about formats that work in impromptu speaking. Yes, formats. You might tell me that if I'm supposed to think on my feet, how can I actually have a format to my speech? But that's what we're going to learn today. We're going to break the myth that an impromptu speech or a speech that you have to give on the spot can also have a very proper structure attached to it. So we're going to cover that as well. Then we're going to speak about the thinking window, basically the few seconds that you have between you being asked a question and you having to deliver a speech. The few seconds that pass in between that, what exactly should you do with those few seconds? How exactly should you try to train your brain in order to make sure you can give better impromptu speeches? And lastly, I'm going to give you a few practices as well, few things that you can do from now for the next 30 days in order to improve your impromptu speaking capabilities. So let's dive deep into exactly what impromptu speaking is all about. So let's start with the most important topic, that why exactly does impromptu speaking matters. And for that, I would like all of you to actually put on the chat box also while I speak, what exactly do you do right now? Am I talking to students, teachers? Are you working professionals? Are you homemakers? I would love to know a little bit about you so that I can tell you exactly how impromptu speaking matters for you. Because on a daily basis, you don't even realize how often you end up using impromptu speeches, how often you actually think on your feet and end up talking. Every day, on a daily basis, in meetings, whenever you're meeting someone and they ask you questions, a simple question that your friend might be asking you when you meet him for the first time in the day, which is, how was yesterday night? The answer that you have to give to that is also an impromptu speech. And moving on, even if it's a structured meeting or a networking opportunity as well, where you're actually trying to make sure that you get to know people better and they get to know you better, there are so many topics that you speak about which you've not planned of. And at those moments also, you have to use impromptu speeches. In a question and answer session, you don't, unless and until, of course, that you are the Prime Minister of the country and you can control what questions you're going to be asked. But for most of us, we are asked questions which are out of syllabus most of the time. So how exactly can we give impromptu speeches and give answers which are appreciated by the person who's listening to us? Toasts, when you're talking about celebrating any milestone that your friends have reached or your family members have reached, when you speak about those also, you use impromptu speeches. Whenever there's a crisis moment, whenever you are actually going through any kind of difficulty, at that point in time, impromptu speeches comes to the forefront, because that's the time when you have to think on your feet, come up with solutions, but also more importantly, convey those solutions well enough to people who you are dealing with at that point in time, in order to make sure that they are able to execute whatever you're asking them to do in the best way possible. And lastly, for career opportunities as well, whether you're going for interviews, whether you're going for group discussions, wherever you go, you have to do proper impromptu speeches in order to make sure that you can leave a lasting impression on the people you're talking to. So yeah, I can see that many of you have written that you're working professionals, you're teachers, you're students, and for all of you, this skill set is something which is going to be very, very important for you to master in order to help you achieve success. When you're able to think faster on your feet, irrespective of whatever you're doing, whether you're a content creator, business owner, attorney, comedians for sure, like, when they do crowd work, what are they doing there? They're trying to gather data from the audience and instantly make jokes. That crowd work is nothing but impromptu speeches. Content creators, example, right now in this sessions as well, when I'll be asking you questions and I'll be opening the floor for questions rather, and I'll be having questions coming from all of you. I'll have to answer them on the spot. Impromptu speeches. Whether you're a TV journalist, student, teacher, impromptu speeches are a daily part of your life, and especially for leaders. Doesn't matter whether you're a student council leader, whether you're a leader of your friend's gang in your society, whether you are a leader of the workplace where you work, wherever, in whatever space you're a leader, you have to be really good at impromptu speeches in order to be able to help people solve their difficulties, because they constantly look forward to you helping them solve the problems that they are facing on a day-to-day basis. And that's why it's very, very, very important for all of us to learn impromptu speeches. Impromptu speeches are nothing but situations where you are asked to think on your feet and give answers to questions which are being asked to you within seconds. And that's why we are all going to be today in today's session try to learn exactly how we can ace the art of impromptu speeches. So yes, hello to everyone. Hello to New Catering. Hello to Priyanka, Manav, Gunesh, Vinal, Geeta, Komal, Suyash, Poonam. Hello, how are all of you doing? And I'm so very glad that all of you could take out time to be a part of this session. And let's make this session something which is fruitful for everyone who is wanting to learn impromptu speeches. So let's directly get into exactly how we can learn impromptu speeches. And for that, before we actually learn something new, one thing that we need to understand is that we need to agree that there is scope of improvement, that there is a requirement for you to actually improve that skill set. Because till the point you don't come to that conclusion, you will always be under the assumption that you know everything, and the learning curve that you'll go through will not be what that skill set requires. And that's the reason why first thing we're going to discuss today in this module is the common mistakes that we commit. And if you've committed any of these, please do drop a message on the comment box, on the chat box, for me to know about that as well. So yeah, we're going to speak about, I've thought of 5 traps which normally occur whenever people are asked to think on their feet and speak up. First, and the most common one, is speaking before thinking. Now, how often have you been in this situation, tell me, where someone is asking you a question, they are not even done finishing their question, but halfway through them talking about what exactly they want to ask you, your mind has zoned out and you've started thinking about the answer that you wish to give. And as soon as they take a pause, you start giving an answer. You start speaking even before actually listening to them and thinking exactly what they would want as an answer. You simply want to just fill in the gap. You know why this happens? Because we as humans are very scared of silence. We feel that silence is the worst thing that can happen in a conversation. That two of us are talking and suddenly if I ask you a question, and if you take a pause for 5 seconds before answering the question, in your mind, you will exaggerate that 5 seconds as 15 minutes and you will start thinking that the other person now thinks lesser about you. And that's the reason why this fear is something that drives us to make us speak before we think. And you must have so many times done this, and then you must have thought, why did I say what I said? I would have simply taken few seconds to think a proper answer. I knew the answer of the question, but just because I did not take enough time to allow my brain to actually articulate a question, a proper answer to the question that I was asked, I ended up saying things which did not make sense at all. And that's the reason why maybe the outcome that I wanted from that situation did not occur. Speaking before thinking. One thing which is a common pitfall when it comes to impromptu speeches. And whenever you speak before you think, automatically the answer will never be to the best of your potential. The second pitfall is having no structure. Now, how often has this happened with you as well? Where you started talking and then you said one line which was very well planned, but then you went blank after that. So you said something completely different after that and just stitched the two statements which do not connect with each other at all. You ended up saying things which do not connect with each other. There was no structure. So example, you know how a movie, when we go to watch a movie, there's a beginning, there's a middle part, there's a climax. You end up having the climax at the beginning, then the movie's beginning, and then the middle part. There was no proper structure to the way you were supposed to deliver that speech. This is again an issue that happens in impromptu speeches for many people that I know, and we want to try to counter that as well today. The next one is saying everything that you know in that speech itself. I'm asked, tell me something about yourself, and I start answering right from the day I was born till today, everything that I've done. I bombard so much information on my listener that the listener ends up getting completely exhausted. The listener feels that I've got so much information that I'm no longer interested in the conversation itself, saying everything that you know in the first go itself. The next common pitfall that I've spoken about is trailing off at the end. You know, because you've not decided how exactly you're going to end up concluding your entire speech. So you say a few things and then you have to say things like, so yeah, I think that's about it. Trailing off at the end, even after giving an impactful speech. Another trap that happens for many people. And the last one, which is a very common one which I've come across, is apologizing upfront. As soon as you are asked a question, you'll be like, sorry, I've not prepared anything, but I'll try to say whatever I can think of as of now. Now these things, if they happen with you as well, please put a yes on the comment box so that I know that you are someone who will actually benefit from this statement, from this session, from this entire masterclass. So I'm going to check the chat box to see how many yeses do I get. And I've already got a lot of yes already. True, that is so true. How to remove ums and ers. 145 is done by me, is something that Bunesh tells me. So don't worry. Now one thing which you need to understand is that communication skills, the name communication skills, there's a reason why it's called communication skills and not communication talent. You know what majority of us feel? When we don't speak well on stage or when we are not good at impromptu speeches and we see someone else being good at it, we just feel that we don't possess the talent that's required to be good at communication skills, and that's why we just give up, thinking that I don't have that talent. It's like this, that you say that, okay, I don't have the talent to be Sachin Tendulkar, so I won't play cricket at all. Or I don't have the talent to be Michael Phelps, so I don't need to swim. Similarly, you feel that I don't have the talent to speak like Shashi Tharoor, so I won't speak on stage at all. But remember, it's called communication skills and not communication talent. It's a skill set, which means it can be learned. You only need to know exactly what you need to do in order to learn that skill set. And that's why sessions like these will benefit you a lot in order to learn that skill set. So if these were the traps which people normally come across, how can you solve them? The solutions that I can think of is that A, welcome silence for the first one. Rather than speaking before thinking, it's completely fine to take a 3 to 5 seconds pause before you utter the first word. Now you might think the world ends as soon as you take a pause, but that's not the case. Rather, the opposite is true. When you take a pause and then start talking, the person who's listening to you will feel, okay, yes, the person's actually giving a thought to what he's saying or she's saying, And that's why I should maybe pay a little bit more attention to what the person's saying. They will end up appreciating what you are saying much more. Rather than having no structure, pick one of the formats that I'm going to cover in module 3, which is how to make sure that even when you put in a situation, have a structure. You know how movies have the beginning, the middle part, and the end, the climax. We're going to make sure our speeches also have that structure. Rather than saying everything that you know at the beginning itself, you need to make sure that you say the main idea that you wish to convey, and maybe one or two supporting arguments, not more than that. Rather than trailing off at the end, plan exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to conclude your speech even before you begin talking. And lastly, never apologize upfront, because it will actually hamper your credibility. So for all the people who said yes, I hope this session is going to be beneficial for all of you. So let's understand what are these formats that we can utilize in order to make sure that when we are put under stress as well, when we are asked to think on our feet and speak instantaneously on topics which we know of or many times we don't even know about, how exactly should we tackle those situations? So for that, the first one which we are going to cover today is something that I call the PREP method. P-R-E-P. The acronym stands for point, reason, example, and then point again. This structure is best suited whenever you are asked to give your opinion about something. Whenever you have to give an opinion about any topic, first make the point which you wish to convey, then give a reason which supports your point, then an example which supports your reasoning, and lastly then come back to the point in order to make sure you've put further emphasis on it. But it's just, me just saying this doesn't make sense. Let's try a situation as well. So in this case, I will take up a topic. Let's say hypothetically, I'm going to talk about the US-Iran war. Someone comes and asks me, Aman, what do you think about the US-Iran war? Now I'm going to take 5 seconds to think, then I'm going to start with point, reason, example, point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's begin. I feel US could have avoided this war with Iran. The reason why I think so is because even though US claimed that Iran was very close to actually having nuclear weapons, there is no independent or even state-run news agencies which has been able to confirm the same. Rather, the opposite has been the case, where so many news agencies have spoken about how Iran was nowhere close to having enriched uranium to actually create nuclear weapons. And the example that I would like to support my reasoning is how US has done this in the past as well, and then come to the conclusion that what they did was wrong. You can take the example of the US-Iraq war. Same thing happened there as well. And then we all know how US could do nothing but just get oil out of that country and leave the country in a worse situation than what it started. Look at what happened with US and Afghanistan as well. We all know the humiliation the Joe Biden government had to face when Taliban removed them from the country. Thus, I would like to once again reiterate that US could have handled this situation much better, maybe diplomatically. So you see how I showed you an example of the PREP method. You asked me of the opinion on the US-Iran war. I first made my point, gave a reasoning behind the same, then used an example supporting my reason, and then gave a point. But how could I do all of this so quickly? It's because as soon as I took that 5-second break, I started thinking in a specific direction. The problem that happens in impromptu speaking is that because when we don't have structure, our brain is like the world's fastest computer. It tries to bring in all the data related to the topic that we have from our entire life experiences. And that's why then what happens is that we are never being able to structure a speech on time. But as soon as I decided the structure, which is the PREP method, point, reason, example, point, in 5 seconds my brain had to only think of 3 things. 1, what's the point I'm going to make? Second, what's the reasoning I'm going to give? And third, which is the best example I can give for the same. automatically what happened was, because my brain, just like all of your brain, is like the world's fastest computer, it could actually make sure that this entire speech could got created within 5 seconds itself. It can happen with all of you as well. If you simply just A, understand the structure, B, implement it as well, and C, along with that, make sure that you, every time in the situation, keep coming back to these structures. Remember, practice is the only thing that will make you perfect. You can't expect overnight changes. Overnight sensations, as everyone who's been successful will tell you, is not a reality. It's a very simple thing. If I want to have a body like Tiger Shroff, I can't go to the gym today and say I'm going to be in the gym for 24 hours and then simply keep working out for 24 hours and expect myself to have a body like Tiger Shroff by the next day. It's not possible. It's a journey. But if I continuously keep making sure that I work on my body, I will, over maybe 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or a year, achieve my end goal. The same is the case with you as well. It's not that by learning this topic or the concept, instantaneously you'll be able to give speeches as good as maybe what I gave. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. It took me as well 3 to 4 months to learn these concepts. But once I learned them, now you ask me my opinion on any topic under the sun, automatically my brain goes to the prep method. I give a point, then I give a reasoning to it, and then I give an example associated with the same. So all of us need to do that as well. That's why we're going to make sure that practice. That's why one of the point of the last thing which I'm going to cover in today's module is the practice part, because that's the most important according to me. Concepts you can get anywhere under the sun, but how can you practice them regularly? Something which you all need to do in order to improve your communication skills. So yeah, that's the first method, the prep method. Any questions that you have till now about the things that I've covered, and especially the prep method, please ask in the chat box. After covering the second point, I will make sure that I come to the questions which you will be asking me about the prep method, or any other question that you would like to possibly ask me. So before I take questions, I'm going to cover one more point after this as well. The second format. The second format is best utilized to give updates about things. It's called the what, so what, and now what method. Basically, you're giving the context first, then you're stating the relevance of the same, and then lastly, you're suggesting the action, what should be done next. So again, let's take an example here as well. Let's say if someone asks me, can you update me about the state of employability of youth in India? How will I give an answer to that? Let's do the 5 seconds again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The first, the context. India, even though the world's largest youth population, has more than 50% educated youth unemployable. More than 50% of engineers and MBAs that come out of colleges in India are unemployable. I'm not saying unemployed, unemployable. They are someone who cannot be employed because they don't have the necessary skill sets for the industries which require those professionals. Why is it relevant for a country like India? We are the world's largest youth population. Our future is going to be defined by the youth of today. If and only if we are able to upskill them in order to make sure that they are able to meet the demands of the world tomorrow, only then India is going to be able to become a developed country from a developing country. And India plays a huge role in the world. We are 20% of the world population, which means every 5th to 6th person is an Indian. It's extremely important for the Indian youth to be employable in order to make sure that the world can go forward in the right direction and we are not all dependent on only AI in the future. And that's why I feel the government of India should now focus more and more on skill development. Skill India is a great movement that the country has come up with, the Prime Minister has come up with, but it has to be further amplified, not only for people who are already done with their education, but for students who are studying in schools as well. That's the only way we'll be able to make sure we achieve our dreams. So you see what I did here as well. First I said the context, then I said the relevance of the context, and lastly I said what's the action that can be taken. A beautiful way to give updates on things. Whenever you are asked to give an update about anything, it can be something simpler as well. Example, someone asks you an update about a certain task that you are working on. You can speak about first the context, which is what are you working on, how is it relevant, and what is that you're going to work on now in order to make sure the actionable goal is something that can be conveyed further. So this is how you can give updates. Prep method is great for opinions. Whenever you're asked, can you tell me what do you feel or what do you think about a certain topic? And what, so what, now what can be used when you want to give updates. So as I promised, now I'm going to take questions. So let me see what are the questions that you have. Sir, what habits can I develop daily to become better communicator? That's what Vanita is asking me. And Vanita, for that, I would just request you to wait for the next 15 minutes because I have an entire module surrounding the same, which will give you a much better idea about how can you practice this on a regular basis. So I'm going to keep it very crisp, not going to elaborate this a lot. I'm going to keep it crisp and to the point in order to make sure that you get exactly what you're looking for. Vinal is asking me, how did you become such a confident orator? Well, Vinal, actually I can cover this in the next point itself, the next structure that I wanted to cover. So the next structure that I wanted to cover was the STAR structure, which is situation, task, action, and then result. This is best to use for sharing personal anecdotes. And maybe because Vinal, you've asked me about my own journey, I'll use the STAR method to give you an answer to the same. I'll share my personal anecdote this way itself. So again, 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The question is, how did I become a good orator? So firstly, I would like to give the situation. When I was a school student, I used to be a complete textbook introvert. Someone who could not speak to anyone around him, sit in the last row corner seat, forget speaking to girls. That was like a distant dream. I could not even speak to guys properly. That was the situation I was at. One fine day, my school had a debate competition and my teacher had identified my introversion and she enrolled me for the competition without even informing me, or without even asking me rather. She informed me after she had enrolled me already. Now, as soon as that happened, I used everything under my control in order to avoid the situation. I tried to fake a medical issue, but my mother said, Aman, I know that you are just lying. Shut up and go to school. You have to be a part of the debate. When I went to the school, 2 lectures before the session was supposed to happen, I shut myself in the washroom and acted as if I have diarrhea. But then my teacher actually came and knocked outside and said, Aman, you have to come out, otherwise you'll break the door. And I had to come out. And the task that was given to me was that Aman, go and now deliver your speech. And then you know what happened? I actually was forced literally to go and deliver the first speech of my life. This was the slowest walk in the history of mankind that took place from my chair to the mic. I slowly walked towards the mic thinking I'm going to make a fool out of myself and all my friends are going to make lots of jokes about me. And then I committed the biggest mistake of my life. I looked at the audience and I saw 200 eyes staring back at me. And I'm sure all of you who has done public speaking can correlate with me. People staring back at you for the first time when you face that, it's the most scary thing that can happen to you. I froze for 4 to 5 seconds. I could not speak. My teacher then gave me a cue. She said, Aman, you have a piece of paper in your hand, just read it out. So then I started speaking about the topic that I had in hand. And it was the worst speech that you could possibly think of. And I was saying it in an even worse manner. I was just reading it out literally, not even looking at the audience. But you know what happened after that? Suddenly, my teacher, once I was done with my speech, stood up and started clapping for me. And looking at her, everyone else in the room started clapping for me as well. And I was so naive because I was a school child, right? I actually thought I'd given a good speech. So I felt good about myself and I was like, I want to do this more. So I kept going for more and more such debates and elocutions, and then I started reading about how can I sound like people I want to sound like, how can I walk the way people I want to walk like, how can I talk the way people I want to talk like. And today imagine I actually teach people communication skills. So 2 things I've done here. I've just shown you the STAR method where I told you the situation, the task, the action and the result. But along with that, I've also answered you, Vinal, where how did I become a confident orator? It's by A, putting myself in situations where I have to test my skills, and along with that, also trying to make sure that I learn concepts related to communication skills which I can implement in my life, learn from people who are better than me at communication skills, and actually work on the same. And quite literally, that is why I'm a standing example of the fact that communication is a skill set, anyone can learn it, because if you will see my speeches from grade 7 and 8, you will never be able to relate with how I speak right now. So yeah, that's how I learned how to become a confident orator. And if you wish to do the same as well, as a matter of fact, and if you want to learn more about communication skills, just like these masterclasses, enroll for such free masterclasses that we're going to keep doing in the future as well. And if you want to go further in depth as well, we also have an online course called Gyansthan Skill Tech. Maybe I'll put the link of the same at the end on the chat box and in the description for anyone who wishes to learn how to speak confidently. That will help you a lot. Another question which is there, that can you please give one more example for the prep method? Surely I can do that, to give you an opinion about something. So let's say the opinion which you are asked for would be on the Kashmir issue, the issue that's being faced between India and Pakistan. What would be the prep method here? So the point, again, 5 seconds, remember, don't think before you speak. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start. The point I would like to make here is that the Kashmir issue between India and Pakistan cannot be solved by military disputes, but rather should be solved by diplomatic channels. The reason which I wish to give behind the same is that there have been almost 6 wars that India and Pakistan have had with each other. Kargil war being the latest that we remember, and of course the Operation Sindoor as well, if we can count that as well. This doesn't help people. You ask people in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, you ask people in Indian Kashmir, they will say the same thing. Neither of them are happy, rather their houses are being broken during these wars, they are being disrupted, their life is being disrupted completely, and they are having to move away and migrate for no mistake of theirs. And when something like this continues, the example I would like to give, along with India and Pakistan, look at South Korea, North Korea, the issues that they faced, the problems that people have to go through. Such situations, when not solved in a diplomatic manner, and when military is used, has always in the past caused nothing but disruption. You go all the way back to Indian mythology as well, whether it's you start from Mahabharata to any war that has taken place till now, World War I, World War II, no war, in wars, no one are winners. Everyone ends up losing. And that's why I really feel that the point which I wanted to make initially, the problem between between India and Pakistan over the topic of Kashmir should be solved diplomatically and not using military. So you see, I hope you've got an idea, Preeti, how you can use the prep method in any situation, any opinion that you have to give. Now, I took both the opinions which are related to geopolitics because that's a topic which is very close to my heart. It comes naturally. But for you, it might be anything else. It can be your opinion on what do you think about Nykaa products. Then you can say the point that you feel that Nykaa products are great. You give a reason why you feel that Nykaa products have been better for you than others. You give an example also of the same, that how you've had bad experiences in the past, but how you didn't have that with Nykaa, and then make the point once again. So it can be anything under the sun. You can give an opinion about anything under the sun, and you will be able to use this prep method there as well. So I hope you are understanding. Bhunesh is saying that, is it useful for debates as well? 100%. Impromptu speaking is nothing but the backbone of debates. And since we speak about debates, I'm actually right now working on a course which is going to be coming up live very soon on debates as well. I covered this method there as well. Debates, really, like whenever you're supposed to give your opinion, updates, personal anecdotes, and the other examples also I'm going to give, you can very well use them in debates as well. Thank you so much, Komal, for those kind words. Moving on, the next structure. Whenever you want to give a toast, we spoke about how when your friend achieves something or when there's a happy occasion in your family, you're asked to speak for a few minutes, or whenever you want to share a vision, or whenever you want to say a story as well. This method works really well. It's a very simple method. You must have understood that by the name itself, past, present, future, which means first you say where we were, then you say where you are, and then you say where you're going to go. So the toast as well, I don't have to give an example for this case as well, otherwise all of you I'm sure will get bored. So I'll just do an overview here. But whenever you give a toast as well, hypothetically your friend is getting married, first you will always speak about the good old times that you had with your friend. Times when you went crazy. Times when you had the time of your life. You enjoyed, you were there for each other. Then you speak about how the person has grown and today where the person stands. And how you're so very happy that the person is able to find a life partner who's going to add more value to his or her life. And then you say the future, where you speak about how in the future as well you would love for them, the couple who's getting married, to have a wonderful life and how you'd like to be a strong part of that life as well. So you see in a toast as well, you do nothing but past, present and future. But in toast, normally what happens is that you are planning a speech. That's why people give a proper constructive speech like this. But now what I've given you is I've given you a hack that even if you're asked to give a toast on the spot, or you're asked to give a vision about a topic on the spot as well, vision for, let's say, an event that you are organizing in your college. What's happened in the past? What's the case? What's the situation right now? And how you see the event happening in the future. Use the past, present and future method in order to make sure that you actually are able to make people love the way you speak. The next structure that we're going to use is the problem solution structure, where this works best whenever you're trying to persuade someone or whenever you're pitching an idea, where you try to frame the pain point and then offer a fix. So here the example, a simple example I would give is, let's say, hypothetically, people at Gyansthan, people who do sales at Gyansthan, they go to different institutions and they provide our services to them. One of them is communication skills. So if I were to go and do the same as well, first I would try to frame the pain that people normally face. So my pitch would start something like this. I would say that, sir or ma'am, you know that 8 out of 10 people in this world face glossophobia. What's glossophobia? Glossophobia is the fear of speaking on stage. And the fact that I give is actually true. 8 out of 10 people in the world have glossophobia, which means more people are scared of public speaking than heights, water, things that can actually kill you. More people are scared of public speaking. And I'm sure because of this fear, what happens is that majority of good talent, people who are really talented, are not able to showcase their talent to people because they don't know exactly how they can go about conveying their opinions to others. And I'm sure the same is the case with your institution as well. And I'm sure the answer will come yes, because that's the ground reality of the world. And as soon as the yes comes in, I offer the fix. I will say that's the reason why our program helps students learn exactly how they can overcome their stage fear. Right from giving them answers about how to stand, how to talk, how to walk, how to think, how to prepare, how to execute, how to come across, how to tackle challenges as well. Via impromptu speaking, we teach them all of it. So see how I gave a problem statement and then I gave a solution. Great way for pitching or when you're persuading someone as well. When you want to persuade someone to do something, tell them what's the problem statement that you want them to find a solution to, and then give them a solution, the action that you would like them to execute. So that's how you go about the problem and the solution structure. Till now I've covered 5, and again if you have questions about any of them, please ask in the chat box. After the 6th structure, I'm again going to take a pause and I'm going to answer questions that you ask me here. The last structure that I would like to cover would be the rule of 3. And I'm assuming that you can't see this because of my screen being visible at the same part. So I'll tell you the structure is called the rule of 3, where what you do is that you give 3 parallel ideas. This works whenever people are in doubt. What do you mean by that? Whenever there's a crisis situation and when people are in doubt, the best way to deal with that situation and give an answer would be giving 3 suggestions. Our brain loves trials. We are actually wired in a manner where we love the trials which we come across. And that's why as soon as you give 3 such solutions, possible solutions, it's very likely that the person will choose one of those 3 solutions only. That's why whenever in doubt, use the rule of 3, which is you give 3 parallel ideas or 3 parallel suggestions. A situation, let's say you have a crisis. Hypothetically, you are hosting an event. There are 300 guests in the event. And at 12 o'clock, you come to know that the caterer who's supposed to deliver the food is missing in action. He's nowhere to be seen. Now the head comes and says, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Tell me, what do we do? Now when you give one suggestion, the person will not buy it. So give 3. So 3 can be, let's say hypothetically, the first suggestion can be, we can try to call one of the QSR companies, basically something like McDonald's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, who have the capacity of actually providing food for 300 people on the spot without preparation. Or maybe the second solution can be that we give them just dry snacks. Because we can't have hot food created right now, we just buy dry snacks in bulk and give it to our audience. Or the third thing can be, let's say that we use a combination of 2, because whichever caterer who comes and creates a meal for our guests is going to take some time. We give them dry snacks now and then give them proper food maybe 2 hours after the scheduled time, but at least end up giving them food. When you give 3 solutions, automatically the other person is much more sold on buying the ideas. And that's what happens whenever humans are in crisis. They're looking for solutions and our brain always wants 3. So that's why whenever you're in a crisis situation as well, try to use the 3 parallels, try to use the rule of 3, and you will see more likely for people to agree to your solutions. If you give only 1, it's very likely the person will say no to it. But when you give 3, it's more likely that the person will actually agree to the same. So these are 6 structures which I wanted to convey today. First, I once again repeat, to give your opinion, use the PREP method. Point, reason, example, and then point. Whenever you want to give updates, use the what, so what, and now what method. Whenever you want to share personal anecdotes, you can use the STAR method, which is situation, task, action, result. Whenever you wish to give a toast or a vision or a story, past, present, future. Whenever you want to persuade someone, problem and then solution. And lastly, whenever people are in doubt, you want to give solution to a crisis, rule of 3. What I've done here is that I've given you certain structures ready for you to use in whatever situation you are. So that tomorrow when your friend asks you, oh, did you read about what happened in, let's say, again I'm using the same example, you know what happened between the peace talks that were supposed to happen in Switzerland between Iran and USA. What do you think about the same? They've asked you your opinion. Immediately your brain will go towards the PREP method, you'll start giving an answer. Or the next time your friend tells you, oh, I've heard a story that you had an amazing birthday. Can you tell me about the same? You're sharing a personal anecdote, use the STAR method, situation, task, action, result. Whenever you're in a situation where on the spot you need to persuade someone, hypothetically a student who's inviting a guest to come and judge an event in your school or college, the problem statement and solution. So try to use one of these methods in order to improve your impromptu speaking capabilities and actually making the other person feel that within seconds as well, even though I asked the person a question 5 seconds ago, yet the person is being able to give me an answer in such a structured manner, it would automatically make them feel that you are very, very intelligent, someone they should listen to. So as I promised, now I'm going to come on the full screen mode and I'm going to try to answer a few questions that you would like to ask me. And the questions that I see that I've been asked, one I can see is that, how do you build authenticity and connect emotionally with an audience? How do you build authenticity and connect emotionally with an audience? Now, these are 2 different questions I would say, and I would answer both of them. Authenticity comes with a couple of things. Firstly, of course, your work speaks for you as well. If you have past experience of doing something well, people are going to find you more credible. But if they don't know about you, it's very important to use the first few seconds of your speech to build credibility, to make them understand what you've done in the past and what do you stand for, so that they feel that you are someone who's authentic. And to be able to connect emotionally with the audience, of course, content is king. What you plan to speak is the most important thing. But I'm going to give you a very interesting fact today. You know, on a daily basis, human being speaks two ways. One is verbally, the words that are coming out of my mouth. Second is non-verbally, which is basically my actions, my facial expressions, and my voice modulation. How softly I'm speaking, how loudly I'm speaking, the low tone that I use, the high pitch that I use, how quickly I speak, how slowly I speak. Voice modulation, gestures, facial expressions, all of them are called non-verbal communication. Now, if you were to guess what percentage of our daily communication happens verbally and what percentage happens non-verbally, what would be your guess? You have to break 100 into two parts. Out of 100% communication, what happens verbally, what happens non-verbally? Send me in the chat box. What do you feel is the right answer? How much communication happens verbally and how much communication happens non-verbally? Can you tell me? What do you think about that? I've taken a pause because I would like to give you a few seconds to actually answer this question. What percentage do you feel is the actual case? Okay, and I now see a few answers coming in. You'll be surprised by the actual number. The actual number, okay, people did not tell me, okay, I'm assuming verbally first and non-verbally second. So someone is saying 90-10, okay, 40% verbal is someone else who's saying. The actual fact is, someone saying 70% verbal, 30% non-verbal. The actual fact is, only 7% of our communication happens verbally. Remaining 93% is non-verbally. Which means actions do speak louder than words. Almost 15 times louder. The way you say things are much more important than what you say. And that's why, coming back to the question that you had asked, Vanita, to build credibility, authenticity, and to make the audience emotionally connect with you, your words have to be something which they can connect with, but along with that, your body language and more importantly, your voice has to be something which they can believe as well. When I speak to you in a very soothing voice, the way I'm talking to you right now, I calm you down. I make you connect with me better. And when I speak loudly with all this excitement that I have in myself, I make you feel excited as well. And that's the reason why, answering your question, to build credibility, you need to learn the art of mastering body language and voice modulation and work on the same. When you do that, and along with that, use effective speeches as well, good content, automatically the audience will connect with you. Because it's a very simple thing, hypothetically, I'm giving a speech, the same, or I'm conducting a lecture. I'm supposed to conduct the same lecture in 50 different institutions, 50 times a year. In the lecture, it's the same story that I'm saying. I can't feel the same emotion every time I say that story, right? However emotional the story might be. But if I have my voice at a certain volume, pitch which is low enough, expressions which shows concern, automatically I'll be able to convey the emotion that I want people to have. And they will actually agree to the same as well. That's why, to build a good emotional connect, use positive body language and voice modulation. Another question which I'll take one more, if during a speech we forget a point and go ahead with the point, how do we go back and include the missed point? I'll tell you one mistake that people commit here, and then I'll tell you what you should do ideally. The mistake that people do is something like this. Let's say I'm introducing Gyansthan to all of you. So Gyansthan is India's largest upskilling organization, where we have 25 academies. So where we have 18 academies. You know what I did? Because I said the wrong number, I came back to it and said the right thing again. As soon as I did that, what happened was that even for the people who did not know the actual number, realized they have committed a mistake. So whenever you forget a fact, whenever you forget a piece of information that you are supposed to give, don't break the flow of your speech and come back immediately. What will happen that way is the chain of thought of yours will be broken, but along with that of the audience also will be broken. The connection that they had with you will completely break. So if I had to give the right fact again, I would say Gyansthan is India's largest upskilling organization, having 25 academies, in which we've tried to cover each and every topic area, right from performing arts to skill development to making sure that we teach sports, soft skills, along with that specialized education as well, in order to make sure that we become a one-stop solution for all upskilling opportunities that people in India are looking for. Where we've worked with 18 very intelligent field experts, right from Subhash Gaiji to Amish Tripathi to Cyrus Barocha, Salim Merchant, some of whom you can see in the picture behind me, in order to make sure that we use their expertise in order to teach people how exactly they can convert their passion into their profession. So yeah, we have 18 different academies. So you see what I did? I know that I said 25 incorrectly, but I did not dwell back into that and say, okay, sorry, not 25, 18. I did 18 and then I re-emphasized on the same at the end. And what happens is that things that you say at the end are the most likely things that will stay with your audience for the longest duration. So what you can do is that you can always try to plug it in, integrate it at the end rather than using it as a break and coming back to the topic. So now I'll once again take questions at the end of the session. I have 2 topics which I have to quickly cover, which will hardly take 5 minutes, and then I'll take all the remaining questions that you have. So 3 modules that we covered till now, we go back to them. The first thing that we covered was how exactly impromptu speaking matters. The second was the common mistakes that people commit. And third were the formats that people can use. And in that, as you see, that there was first impromptu speaking, we use it everywhere, right from meetings, networking, crisis movement, career opportunities. It's applicable for all fields, whether you're a homemaker or whether you're a leader of a company, you require impromptu speeches. The mistakes that you commonly make, we spoke about them. And then I gave you the 6 formats that you can possibly use. Now we come to the point, which is how exactly you use the time which you have to think. And how exactly can you make sure that the 4 to 5 seconds, at times you might have 30 seconds as well, at times you might have a minute as well, even that comes under impromptu speeches. But in most cases you'll have maybe 5 seconds. How can you exactly utilize those seconds? So 5 moves that you do before you say the first word. First, take a pause. Become comfortable with silence. Remember, we spoke about that. Take a pause. Maybe what you can simply do is look down or look away from the person you're talking to for 2 to 3 seconds. Make it visible that you're actually thinking. So as soon as I get a question, the answer I would like to give. So you see, when I did that, it did not come across as if I'm actually nervous. It came across as if I'm actually trying to think and then I answer. Second point, pick your position first. Exactly what you wish to convey. I'm not saying the words, but what you wish to convey. Example, if I want to give an opinion on a topic, first thing I need to know is what exactly is the opinion that I have on the topic. So first pick your position, because then everything else will come to you. As soon as you pick your position, everything else will come automatically to you. Then choose the format out of the 6 formats that I've given you. Then anchor it with the story. Story works the best. Whatever facts I give you, whatever things I say from my mouth, nothing will have the impact that a story can have. The story that I shared with you about me being an introvert in school days, will have a much larger impact with all of you in comparison to anything else that I've said till now. So anchor it with the story, and lastly, know your last sentence. Exactly how you would like to end the entire speech. Have these 5 things sorted, and automatically those 5 seconds will be utilized in a much constructive manner. So as soon as I get the 5 seconds, first thing, I will take a pause, take those 5 seconds, think what my opinion is, decide, okay, for this prep method maybe is the best. I will anchor the story, okay, I want to give the story of what happened in Afghanistan, the Taliban situation which I spoke about. Then I will decide how I want to end. I want to end with the point again, which is exactly what my opinion is. Now I am ready. In 5 seconds, I am ready to actually deliver a good speech. So see, when you are actually trying to think in those 5 to 30. The more the time you have, the better, of course, the speech will be. But even in 3 to 5 seconds, you can do this. You can take a pause, maybe nod, look down, and then look up, or maybe act as if you're thinking and not blanking. Then decide a position, decide exactly what you wish to achieve. And not 2, 3, 1. One thing that you wish to convey. Then decide a format. Prep is good, or maybe past, present, future is good, or maybe problem solution is better. Decide, anchor the story. Let me give you an example and how exactly I can anchor it the story. And then decide your closing line before you start saying the first word. Remember what I told you. Thing that you say last in your speech is one that sticks with the audience the most. So that's why it's very important to decide what you will say last. You might give a wonderful speech, but if you end it by saying, yeah, I think that's what I wish to convey, automatically you've lost your audience. But if you end it on a high, this is what I wanted to convey, this is my opinion, you will make sure that the other person remembers the confidence that you showed at the end. That's why always make sure that you decide your closing line way before in advance. So coming back to the thinking window, 5 things that you will do in the 5 seconds that you have. Take a pause. Remember, don't talk. Many people will do this. They will start talking and then think. Don't do that. Take a pause. Decide your position, choose a format, anchor it to the story, and know your last sentence beforehand itself. And coming to the last part which I wish to convey, which is how can you practice this. So I'm going to give you a 30-day drill. 5 things that you can start today. First is something that I'm going to call random object drill. This is how you can practice. What you're going to do is that you're going to set a 90-second timer for yourself and give a prep speech, which is point, reason, example, point speech on any object in your room or under the sun. Anything you can talk about. Decide any topic and speak about it for 90 seconds. But don't pre-decide I'm going to speak about, let's say, the light that's there in front of me, or the laptop that's there in front of me, or the phone. Blank yourself, look around, okay, bottle. Give your opinion on the bottle. Point, reason, example, point. Start for 90 seconds. Give yourself 5 seconds pause. In the 5 seconds, what will you do? First, you will decide what's your point, what exactly you wish to convey. Then you will decide which format you're going to use, which is going to be prep. You will decide a story, and then you're going to decide how you're going to end and begin. Start talking. Take a random object, then start talking. Once you start doing that, maybe do it for 5 to 7 days, then you're going to move on to the next part, which is topic jar. Create a jar of topics, random topics daily. Maybe you don't even have to do this. Nowadays we have ChatGPT. Or we have Claude. Simply ask AI, give me a topic, a random topic on which I can speak for 90 seconds. It'll give you 90 seconds, it'll give you a topic. Take a pause for maybe 10 seconds this time, decide, and then speak for 2 minutes. But this time what you will do, there's one change from random drill object. What you're going to do is that you're going to record yourself and watch it back. This way what will happen is that you will get constant feedback about how you're talking, and you'll be able to improve on your speech as well. Once you do that, next stage would be mirror pause drill. Speak to the mirror and replace every or basically that you have in your sentence with silence, with a pause. Why did I keep this third and not first? It's because when you take random object drill, you won't be looking somewhere. You'll be looking some part of your room itself and be talking. So you're just preparing how to talk. In topic jar, what you're doing is you're recording yourself, but you're not getting immediate feedback. So feedback will be when you see the recording. So that's why you'll feel less nervous. But as soon as you go in front of the mirror, you're getting immediate feedback. You can see your reflection. You'll end up being more nervous. So it's more difficult than the first two. That's why, as I said, 5 to 7 days for the first part, 5 to 7 days for the second part, which is first part is random object drill, then topic jar, and then come to mirror pause drill. Once you're confident with this as well, then comes the volunteer rule, how I learn things. Volunteer yourself to make sure that you give answer in any and every meeting or conversation that you're having. Always have an opinion. Start talking about any and every topic that your friends or family members are talking about. Start giving your opinions using one of these methods. And once you get confidence on that as well, the last and the best thing that you can do, the golden standard would be actually going out Group table topics, which will mean that you actually go out and try it in front of people you don't know. Maybe participate in debates, elocutions. Take initiative for working professionals, take initiative for the next presentation that your company has to give. Say, I would like to give it, or I would like to answer queries of the client that we have. Try to put yourself out there in the world and implement it. So see, I've given you 5 stages. First, just speak about a topic, look anywhere under the sun, don't even record yourself, just learn how to speak. Then once you start speaking well, topic jar, speak and record yourself so that you get later on feedback while looking at your recording. Third, get immediate feedback, mirror, look at yourself, your reflection, and then speak. Fourth, volunteer to actually speak wherever you get an opportunity and give your opinions in known settings, which is people that you know, friends that you have, etc. Last, group table topics, go out there in the world and try to implement this in front of the world. People you don't know, because that's the most scary part. And once you master that, impromptu speaking will become a very, very easy thing for you. So on that note, I've covered in 1 hour, as I promised, everything that I had to cover about impromptu speeches, but I'm not ending it here. I would like to answer questions that you have for me as well now. Any questions related to impromptu speeches, please ask me right now, and I would love to answer all of them. So yes, I'm gonna look at what comments I've got in the live chat box and try to answer them right now. Aman, I feel glossophobia is due to fear of getting judged. How to overcome it? So first thing which you need to understand is that audience doesn't care about you. I know it's difficult to digest, but yeah, it's true. They just care about themselves. And that's why we are very forgiving as an audience. Now in this session as well, I'm assuming the reason why you're asking me questions is because you actually feel that I can teach you something well and that I personally speak decently well myself. But if you go back through this video, you will see at least 20 to 30 mistakes I have committed where I have either mispronounced something or I have said something incorrectly. Did that make you think lesser about me? The answer is for sure no. I can say that confidently. So one thing, and the most important thing that you have to put in your mind, is that we are very judgmental as a speaker, but not as an audience. As an audience, we are very forgiving. So once we come to that mindset, then what we need to do is that one by one, now we need to eliminate things that makes us being feared of being judged. First thing is what? Content. We might say things which are not liked by the audience. That's why first thing what you do is prepare a speech. Don't go blind. Second thing which you might be scared of is that what if I forget what I'm supposed to say? So in that case, make sure that you have some reference material with you to always fall back on if you forget something. Third thing that you might be worried about, I'll be judged on the way I'm standing, the way I'm talking, the way I'm speaking. So learn the right way of standing, right way of sitting, right way of using gestures, right way of voice modulation, right way of maintaining eye contact as well. And to be honest, even though it'll look like a plugin, it is actually a plugin, I'll be honest about it. But no shame in that, I did a free masterclass, I can do this much at least. I have a course on this. It's called Public Speaking Course by Gyansthan on Gyansthan Skill Tech. I have used 15 years of my experience of public speaking and given all the tips and tricks about how you can master how to speak confidently, how to have the right body language, right eye contact, right voice modulation in I think 4 or 5 hours long lecture. And I've tried to keep it very cheap, unlike the expensive sessions that in person happen, which even I have to charge over the top or anyone else does. This I think, if I'm not wrong, is for something like 300 rupees only. So you can simply just go and get access, lifetime access to the same, and learn how exactly you can overcome glossophobia. Or else you can also wait for such masterclass, because I really enjoyed today. And if you guys have also enjoyed, please do message me on the chat box that you have enjoyed the session. Then I will schedule more such sessions to help you with more such topics as well. Of course, communication skills is a very vast topic. Today we just covered a very small part of it, which is impromptu speaking, but there is much more that we can talk about. Other question, next question is, how can I avoid feeling nervous on stage? I always struggle with this. I think the answer is very similar to the answer that I just gave previously. The lack of confidence that comes on stage is when we feel that people are going to judge us or people are going to laugh at us. And it's because we are unsure about whether I'm standing in the right way. Are my hands in the right position? Am I looking decent? Am I looking appearing confident to my audience? Is my voice fine? Is my pronunciation correct? Is my content right? When you follow the 3 steps which I told you, which is A, prepare the content. Second, make sure that there is some reference material for you. And third, learn exactly how you can modulate your voice better and use body language well. This fear will go away. And of course, practice is the most important thing. The more you'll practice, and for that, the 5 drills which I told you. First, alone in your room, not recording yourself as well. Then recording yourself. Then in front of the mirror. Then in front of your friends. And then in front of people that you don't know. Gradually, small steps. Don't take a drastic step. The drastic step that my teacher decided for me worked for me luckily. But I'm maybe 1 out of 4 or 5. For the remaining 3-4 people, it might not work. It might end up demotivating them so much. It might end up scarring them in life that they would not want to try it ever again. So don't go to that extreme as well. Start small. Thank you so much, Jia, for the kind words. I'm glad that you loved this session. Can I learn all these skills in person? Now you guys are asking these questions, so I'm saying this thing as well. Gyansthan, and I can see this question coming in from Manav, if I'm not wrong. So Manav, for you, and Vanita is asking me, okay, can you tell me a little bit more about Gyansthan? So both the answers are correlated. Gyansthan is basically an organization that's working on skill development. Communication skills is a part of it, and an integral part of it. That's where the journey started. That's the first academy that I started, but it doesn't stop there. We cover personality development, we cover financial literacy, we cover sports like chess, basketball, football, we cover dramatics, we cover music, we cover culinary arts, we cover filmmaking, we cover mental well-being, we cover creative writing, we cover classical dance, we cover holistic development, we cover international affairs. For each of these concepts, Gyansthan has started academies. Academies with top professionals, faces that I've already spoken about, Amish Tripathi, Salim Merchant, Cyrus Brocha. Even the latest one that we have is Suhani Shah, where we are actually teaching the art of magic to the country. So what we do is that we tie up with institutions and do our trainings in institutions. But Manav, for you and for people like you, if you're based out of Mumbai, we have a wonderful thing for you. It's called Gyansthan Centers of Enrichment and Excellence. There are 5 centers in the city where our trainers give trainings to people at large. Now, till a year ago, you could not access our training. Only the schools that tie up with us, or universities that tie up with us, or corporates that tie up with us had trainings provided to their members. But now people at large can access the same in person at Gyansthan Centers for Enrichment and Excellence. Find the closest one. We have one in Borivali, one in Santa Cruz, one in South Mumbai, which is Valkeshwar. We have one in Matunga, and we have one in Mulund. So we've tried to cover majority part of the city, and we're going to open up many more of these in Mumbai and outside as well, where all these things can be learned by you in person. And if you're not from Mumbai, or if you can't access any of our centers, and as I told you, we have an online training platform called Gyansthan Skill Tech, which you can access on our website. We've just started it a month ago, so we have only one course as of now, which is public speaking. But every month we are aiming to have at least 2 new courses being put out at a very economical cost, 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 300 rupees only, in order to make sure that you get lifetime access to learn these skill sets. So yeah, these are the ways you can learn about us. Thank you for the kind words, Preeti. Thank you for the kind words, Vinal. Thank you everyone. So I feel, is there any other question that I've not answered? Valkeshwar address, if I'm not wrong, we are having it at the Gopi Birla Memorial School. We've tied up with the school and we have our program run there. The last question which I'll take from Imani would be, what makes an audience trust a speaker? 3 things. Number 1, credibility. How credible is the speaker? Number 2, the way the speaker speaks. How well the speaker can connect with the audience from the way he uses voice modulation or body language. And last but most importantly, content. The golden rule of public speaking is that people will listen to you only if they feel you have more knowledge than them on the topic you're talking about. If they don't feel so, they will never listen to you. Thus, prepare your content really well. So on that note, I hope all of you will take something back from this session and try to make sure that maybe you can revisit the session in the future as well in order to learn better impromptu speaking. But let that be just the starting point of a long journey that you have in improving your communication skills. So on that note, I would like to thank each and every one of you who's been kind enough to join me today on this live stream. And looking at all the love that I've received, I would love to do this in the future as well. To know about this, in the description, I'm going to have two links. I've already spoken about Gyansthan Skill Tech. We'll have the link for that. But I'll also have the registration link for all these free webinars that we do. Get yourself registered, and the next time we have this webinar or such webinars, we will send you a WhatsApp reminder as well as an email reminder. We are nice like that. We won't call you and bother you. We'll send you email and WhatsApp reminders itself so that you can join for the webinars related to the topics you would actually want to learn for. So let this be like a free masterclass platform for all of you. So on that note, I, on behalf of Gyansthan, which is a one-stop solution to upskill people in India, working towards the mission of making sure that the world's largest youth population, which is in India, becomes employable and ready for the jobs of tomorrow, thank all of you for being a part of today's stream. Have a great day ahead and looking forward to meeting all of you again next time. Take care.